Okay, so the domain describes all the values of x we're allowed to plug into our function, to which you might be saying, well, why can't I plug in whatever I want, right? But there are a few common restrictions, right? We know that the denominators can't be 0. It's very bad to divide by 0, so we try to avoid that. We also know that you can't take the square root of a negative number if you want to be real, so the insides of square roots have got to be greater than or equal to 0. Also, you can't take the log of a negative number or even 0, so you have to make sure that the insides of logs are greater than 0. And then, for our purposes, don't tell any math person this, for our level, usually it's all real numbers if you don't see any of these restrictions. So I've got some examples over here. You're looking at this guy and you're like, well, what values of x can I plug into this thing? And well, I can plug in whatever I want, but a negative 7 is going to give me trouble, right? Because negative 7 plus 7 would be 0 on the bottom, and that would just be bad. So our domain for this guy, I can plug in anything I want except for negative 7, and that's one way to describe our domain. Beautiful. Done. This guy here, same idea. It's a little bit harder to see what's going to give me trouble, but I know that usually I just do it straight out. I say that 3x minus 7, hey you can't be equal to 0. So 3x can't be 7, so x is not allowed to be 7/3. Because if I plug in a 7/3 into that, that would give me a 0 on the bottom and it would just be bad. Anything else is fine. And notice the top doesn't really matter because it's not giving me problems. If I were to go on to the next one, now I don't have any denominators. Now I just have a square root. And I said that the insides of square roots have got to be greater than or equal to 0. So I say 5x minus 2, hey you have to be greater than or equal to 0. So 5 has got to be greater than or equal to 5x has to be greater than or equal to 2. So x has got to be greater than or equal to 2/5. I can plug in any x I want greater than 2/5 into here, and I won't have a problem. Anything less than that, this thing will be negative. Try it. You'll see. Same thing with this guy. I've got a log, and I know that the insides of logs have to be greater than 0. So I say x plus 4, you must be greater than 0. So x has got to be greater than negative 4, and that's my domain for him. Now I look at this guy, and when you attack these domain problems, you just go down your list. You're like, well, I don't have any denominators. I don't have any square roots. I don't have any logs. I can plug in whatever x I want. So this guy here is all real numbers. Fancy R. And that's it.